questions out too.
All right, I think we are live with the Aussies. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a fictional
Yo,
escapist. My name is Chris, and this evening I'm joined by a plethora of Australians. Just a couple of trigger and content warnings before we do jump into this evening's chat is a majority of us are drinking alcohol. So if that is something that you're sensitive to, it may be worth giving this one a miss. Also, we are Australians, so it's very likely some fucking swearing is going to happen here this evening because at this point,
Really? That's it. I'm
it's just a
leaving.
character trait that we all have. So we've got a couple of people here in the chat. Hello, Joshua, welcome. Thank you so much, Mark. That's you. You're already here. I said hello to you earlier. And hello, Lucas. I actually agree with this. Sparkle the Divine, Reven, is also my spirit animal. The dude is literal as fuck, and I just feel that on a fundamental level.
I
but
have
we'll get to
actually heard nothing but good things. So
I know. I'm so excited to get
forward
it.
to read it.
that.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to get on there. Hello, Kat. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. So really important question for everyone. What's everyone drinking? We'll start with Jess and we'll just go around.
I'm drinking wine from a bottle.
From a bottle. Very important.
From a
distinction.
bottle. That's an achievement.
It's not from a bag, so.
No, it's actually from a bottle. I've only got
clothesline.
this much left now, but I think it was like $10, so not that much better than being in a bag. But that's where we are.
Cam, over to you.
Yeah, I'm drinking whiskey, but it's a Japanese whiskey, which is actually not too bad. So it's
We'll come back to the flavor notes.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Islay stuff. So if anybody has an idea what that is,
Love it. Mark, the responsible one.
Yeah, water tonight for me, but only because I would literally be falling asleep on cam if I actually started drinking right now. So no, later. If we're still going at 9 o'clock, I'll get something.
Stu, you've got to show it off.
So I got the horn, right? Got some beers in it. Actually, you know the guy that played Ragnar in Vikings? Yep. Anyway, so that's his beer company.
Oh,
Traveller.
serious?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're just like Norse representing right now.
Mate, I'm all cylinders firing. So
Yeah, except
yeah.
it's beer. It should be ale or something, shouldn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Louise,
beer,
what have you got for us?
So I have water in my special limited edition
Delicious.
Taylor Swift Eras
Yay.
Tour movie cup that I had to fight a
Cheers.
lot of other people for. But basically, between the ages of 17 and 22, I drank enough for 3 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So now I'm good. I'm good.
We've got a couple of water representatives in the group, which is great.
I love water.
And Luke, yourself.
Just a stock standard Carlton draft for me.
Carlton
I feel
Dry
like
Reach.
that is the
We should have tried to get this chat sponsored, Chris.
Carlton Dry Heave.
I know. Hello, Charlie. Welcome in. So Joshua, Louise actually made this comment on Twitter, and I laughed quite hard when I saw what she put on Twitter, just saying that no one invite that guy. Amazing.
I tried to look him up to see if he'd ever sworn in his life so that I could, be like a this you, but he deleted his entire account. So
Wait, who doesn't swear?
I don't know this person, yeah.
The guy, the Twitter drama, today's Twitter drama.
Oh, I haven't been on Twitter today, apparently, so...
I actually never find any of the drama on Twitter. I don't interact enough. So antisocial.
I just screenshot it and send it to you, to be honest. So that's...
Yeah.
Dish out the tea.
Yeah. Or if I hear something...
Like someone was just whinging that swearing in books is lowbrow or
fuck that.
Bad writing or some shit, and everyone was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Did they not realise how fucking versatile the word fuck is?
Right. Oh my god, Esme's here! Esme, I love you!
Esme is here.
Hi, Esme!
Hello, Esme. Hello, welcome in.
Yep, 100% Esme. What drama?
All right, well, let's jump into it, team. So tonight we are joined by all of these wonderful Aussie authors. We have 3 Aussie authors who have debuted or are about to debut this year. So that's Jeff, Stu, and Louise is coming up on the 24th, and we'll get to that in a minute. And we've got Cam, Luke, and Mark, who have had some books out for, I think it was last year for Cam and Luke and the year before for Mark. So we're going to do
The
a
old
round of
fogey,
introductions. So I'm going to throw over to Jess and we'll just go one by one. Who are you? What's your work? Where can people find you?
Why am I always first? Are you bullying me? So I'm Jessica A. McMinn. I am a dark fantasy writer. My debut, The Ruptured Sky, was a semi-finalist in this year's SPIFO, and that's about all I've got.
Go
I'm
check
on.
it out.
Yeah, that's it. I'm on all the socials
That's the elevator
as
pitch for the
Jessica A.
Ruptured Sky.
McMinn. Yep, there you go. A lot of confidence in that one. It was just on sale. It might still be on sale if you're in America or the UK, but it didn't come on sale in Australia because we don't do Kindle Countdown here.
I
We
know.
do.
Bow, bow, bow. Yeah, that's good. Let's move on now.
All right, Cam, you're up.
Yeah, all right, fucking fair enough. Yeah, I'm Cam Sinclair. I wrote a book last year and also went into Spiffbo, but got booted as soon as it fucking went in there, so they didn't like it too much.
They couldn't handle
Um,
the
I'm
truth.
with ya.
Yeah. It's grim dark. And I had my second book out this year, last month or the month before. So yeah, on track with that. It's available at Amazon, and that's it. So it's Amazon exclusive, so it's in the Kindle Unlimited thing. So
Sick covers.
yeah, they are good covers.
Yeah, I love your covers. They're so good.
Yeah. That's one of the good things about the company that does the covers. They're actually a Ukrainian mob, so they're
Yeah.
still
awesome.
functioning
Yeah.
under conditions, and they're pumping out that sort of quality. So
Yeah. Mimbar?
Cool.
Mibble,
yeah,
isn't it? Mibble?
Milbar or Milbra,
Milbar,
however you
yeah.
pronounce it. Yeah,
Mibble? I call
Yeah.
it Mibble. Is it not Mibble?
it could be.
It's definitely not Mibble.
Well, I'm calling it Mibble. It's Mibble in my head now forever.
But yeah, they do really good work, and they start from quite reasonable price to pretty fucking expensive at the other end. But they're pretty good all the way through. So yeah,
What?
and that's it.
So it's me. Hi, I'm Mark Timoney. I am an epic fantasy author. I have written The Blood of the Spear, which debuted in 2021, I think, if I remember rightly. It was in SBFBO or SPIFBO 7 semi-finalist. I have written a novella Starbinder, which is a prequel to Blood of the Spear, and I'm working on book 2 at the moment. I had plans to have it out much earlier than it has been, but things happen. And you can find me on all the socials, Mark Timoney, and my website, marktimoney.com. That's me.
That was very professional.
I'm the old fogey here.
The seasoned
Thanks,
YouTuber.
Joshua's just commented. He started Starbinder, and it's great so far. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
I'll run some comments underneath while we go through.
Yeah.
Stu, over to you. You've
Yeah.
just
Especially Joshua's
debuted.
comment.
Me. Yeah, I feel like I'm more nervous first time. So yeah, on SK part or Stuart K part of the Kingslayer, debuted that last Thursday, and yeah, it's available on Amazon, and Kindle Unlimited as well. So it's a bit of whirlwind actually. Get my head around everything, and yeah, crazy. That's it.
Must have had some good
I've got
help,
nothing
Stu.
else. Oh, definitely not from yourself, mate. Nah, you've been a massive help. You know that. And Chris.
Oh,
well,
Mark did the same thing for me when I published. I was going to him for question after question after question. So you need that someone to sort of guide you through it.
mm,
Yeah, happy to
Yeah,
pass
it's
on the
hard.
knowledge.
It's hard. Yeah.
I can't wait to bug you all next year when mine's ready to go. Every single one of you.
Very happily return the favour.
Your furry smut's going to go so well, Chris.
Hey, whoa! Let's not give
Well,
spoilers
look,
away.
I'm sorry, but
Wow.
niches sell.
They do.
Hey, look, I
He
read
has-
that book with the door.
Hold on, what's
Mainly-
very smart?
Out of curiosity, but there is a market for having sex with literally anything, including a inanimate object of a door.
Well,
It
Like
was
this?
cool, actually.
Desperate
The
times,
door,
you
the
know?
door was the
Ruth-
son of Zeus, and Zeus screwed a tree at some point.
my God, get that big cock off screen.
Please no.
I don't mind a bit of
Wrong time to
context.
take a mouthful.
That's what she said.
We've completely
I'm
derailed.
out.
We haven't even finished the intro.
It's been 10 minutes.
It has. New record.
So, Louise, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up? My name is Louise Holland. You can call me Lou on here though, because it's much better for me. And my debut novel, Spark of the Divine, is out on the 24th of November. In Kindle and ebook format. Physicals to come. We're not going to talk about why they're late.
Ingram.
But yeah, I write D&D campaigns into novel format, which is my shtick. Which is kind of cool because it means all my stories are kind of based on a true story.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
You can find me if you type Louise Holland author into Google. It actually comes up with me now instead of a random old lady from the 1800s, like a full-on, like, you know when they take those old Western photos with like the metal?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that old kind of picture. So I'm
So-
You
glad
should just
it's
make
me
that
now.
your author profile now.
I
I'll
searched
hijack her Wikipedia.
Louise.
Hi,
searched
that's
your
me.
name in the description
Yeah, I think
box,
I'm the
and
most
it was
famous
the
Luke
old lady.
Schultz now, which is cool.
Right? Yeah. I gotta get the photo up though. But the old lady's her photo's still vibing on Google Images. So I now have beef with her. I'm sure she'll be fine with it because she's probably long dead. So
Wow.
it's a one-sided beef. We'll meet in the afterlife one day. I think that's it. Is there anything else I've missed? I am a Swiftian. I love the 3 S's: Sanderson, Swift, and self-loathing.
Beautiful.
Oh my God.
At lucky last, Luke.
All right. So my name's Luke. I go by, I guess, L.R. Schultz in the author world. I published my first novel, A King's Radiance, I think it was last year, and then followed it up this year with The Sun Prince, the sequel. They're both
that's
set in
you.
the same universe, so Bonds of Kin.
Fuck, sorry, I bought that like 2 weeks ago.
There you go, buddy.
Oh, thanks, Stu. I got your one here.
Also sick covers.
Nice, look, I got your one just here too.
Oh, thanks, man.
I got this one too.
Woohoo, thanks, Luke.
Nice.
I have yours on Kindle.
I'll have a couple more to buy after this, I think.
Everyone with books on standby. I've just got his door.
I have my book on standby.
Which could be exciting, according to Louise.
Nah,
I don't have
That
my
happens
book, but I
after
do
10
have
p.m.
There you
Lucas's
go, Mark.
book. So
There you go,
this is
man.
Lucas's book from
Ah,
the chat.
thanks,
Here you go,
mate.
Lucas. I'm plugging it for you.
Mark, I'm pretty sure I got this for like $10. Big
You
hardcover.
did.
It was on
Ooh.
sale. It was the sale of the year, I reckon.
yeah. That's the crappy first edition, though, so you might have to get the other one, the new one.
Oh, right. I want it
It's
signed.
way more expensive than $10, mate. Like,
You like to think so.
I'll wait for the second.
Okay. It's coming one day.
That's what she said.
No.
Yeah, or him.
Oh, him,
oh,
sorry.
man.
I see.
So I do
Your
have a
turn,
couple
Chris.
of questions for all the Aussies that we have here this evening about, I guess, their reading year, also inspirations that have come from this year. So we have all authors in the group. Louise is the last to release this year on the 24th. I do have to echo what Esme said. Go and pre-order Sparkle Divine. It's fucking fantastic. Had such a good time with it. But I want to sort of know, as readers, what you all read. So, what has been your favorite read of 2023 so far? And I know that sometimes as readers, we can't keep it to one. So, I've also put, you can give us a couple. Do you want to go reverse order? We'll go Luke first and
Yes.
then go up. So you're not always the first off the bat, Jess.
All right. Well, I've actually read quite a lot this year. But if you asked me this about a month ago, I probably would have said Red Rising. I really loved that series. So I just binged all three in about like a couple of weeks. But I've been getting into the audiobooks, and I've really liking the Dungeon Crawler Carl novels. So it's like a lit RPG. I've never read anything like that in my life, nor
I
thought I
love
would.
lit RPG.
But I started reading it, and it's actually hilarious. It's so good. I think I listened to Andrew Watson and Andrew's Wizardly Reads. They just raved about it if you follow their YouTube.
Mhm.
And yeah, I got through the first, I think, 2.5, and it's really good. He's really good at foreshadowing and sort of setting those plot points up, and it's really funny as well. So I don't know if that takes the cake just yet, but we'll see how the next 2 months go, next month and a half.
Yeah, right, Esme? I feel like I'm hearing about Dungeon Crawler Carl everywhere right now.
Oh, really? That's the first I've heard of it. Like just like a month ago.
Nah, it's been around
Yeah.
for a bit.
Definitely heard the name.
I can picture the cover.
Yeah,
There's a cat.
they're
on the
dreadful,
cover, right?
dreadful covers. I hate the covers, but whatever.
Yeah, there's a cat.
The salt has started, Mark.
Well, usually takes me. Well, I usually start earlier than this. Next.
We'll go up to Louise and go through.
I would love to say I read a lot this year, but honestly, every book I read, I was just grateful that it wasn't mine for the 70,000th time, doing edits and that kind of stuff. I did get into reading more and more indie, which was really cool. And one of my closest friends, like I just gave him the shout out because he's in the chat. He's published 7 or 8 books at this point, and I finally got around to reading them because I thought they were all really, really scary horror. Because I read the first one when he first published it, and it was terrifying, and so I bitched out of reading all the rest of them. And then when he finally said, "Oh, this one is Stranger Things, but with more trees," I was like, "Oh, I can handle that." So this is called Harrow, and it's fucking huge. Look at it; it's like 800 pages.
Oh,
It was sick. I really
I
enjoyed
love
it.
big books.
It's a weapon. Like you could kill someone with it. Absolutely.
Excellent.
So I freaking loved this book. It was like, it was Stranger Things with more trees. So that sums it up. There was like a witch cult in it, and like some kids and some demons and shit. It was fucking cool. That was my favorite. Other than that, I picked up Tress of the Emerald Sea, and that was absolutely just quintessential Sanderson, and it was fantastic. Couldn't have asked for anything better in that one. I don't know if that makes me basic, but I'm basic.
No basic here.
Nope.
All right, Stu,
Me?
you're up.
Yeah. Mine was, I just recently finished actually The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Genevieve. I can't pronounce her surname. Don't know if you guys have heard of her before, but she does Norse books. Obviously, I'm into Norse stuff. Yeah, like she had a really cool spin on how, I guess, the women are the main focus in those days, and it wasn't all about the big yarls and all that going on. So yeah, it was a cool take on, I guess, magic and like runes and whatnot, how women were seen back in those days. It was a bit more, they were the lead characters of those sort of books. It's cool. I'm probably talking absolute shit.
I love
but-
the shirt, Stu.
Okay.
King Slayer shirt. I want to get one of those.
Full repping your brand there, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, like Luke, I've been listening to heaps of audiobooks as well. So
Yeah.
I listened to No Coincidence, but it was like a cyberpunk story or spin-off of the game.
I just got that,
Yeah.
by the way. It's a Cyberpunk game.
Yeah,
my brother had
oh,
it. He
yeah.
gave it to me.
Yeah,
No, you
like
love
the
that.
actual the plot of that and the storyline of that game is awesome, and the expansion that game that came out as well was awesome. But yeah, like no coincidence. I highly recommend that as well. So
Excellent. My favorite book of the year has been so far The Rascal Plains by Phil Tucker, which is book 2 of the Great Souls series that he's writing. It's amazing. It's a progression fantasy. And the first book in the series, Bastion, was what made me start reading lit RPG. His stuff isn't really lit RPG. He calls it progression fantasy, but there is a kind of a really heavy focus on characters leveling their powers through the story and becoming stronger and more powerful, getting new abilities and stuff like that. Really, really like that. And because I then fell into the whole rabbit hole of lit RPG, I have been binging the Defiance of the Fall, which has got 10 books. They at the time had 10 books out, and they were all audio, so I just listened to them for a couple of months nonstop and loved them. What else? I read lots of other stuff, mainly indie these days, because I can't find anything being published in trad publishing that I want to read. So it's mainly epic fantasy that I read. I will read space opera as well. And I am actually rereading Peter F. Hamilton's Commonwealth Saga at the moment on audio, listening to, which I really, really love. Yeah.
Is that the ones with the Neutronium Alchemist and all that?
No, that's the night something trilogy.
Yeah.
That's the first ones. Well, he wrote a kind of an urban science fiction series trilogy first, then the Neutronium Alchemist one, and
Okay.
Commonwealth Saga was the one he did after that. And yeah, it's probably my favorite of all the stuff he's done. Really, really good, massive, chunky 1,000-page books that go for like 48 hours each on audio. They're great, so good.
That would take me like
Yeah.
3 years to
48
listen
hours.
to. 48
Nah,
hours.
it's
of
so
audio.
good.
Wow.
Give me something I can just lose myself in for days or weeks. I love it. Yeah. Lots of world building, lots of really cool ideas, interesting characters, action, adventure. Yep. More. Thank you.
All right, Cam,
Yeah.
over to you.
My favorite book this year was, I've just got it up here in my book thing because it's got a hell of a title. It's Empire of the Summer Moon, Kinwa Parker and the Rise and Fall of the Comanches, the most powerful Indian tribe in America's history, and it's by S.E. Gwynn. It's not a fiction book, but it's one of the most brutal fucking books I've ever read. It was fantastic. Like going back from right to when the conquistadors come through Mexico, they started trying to come through that part of America, and the Comanches basically stopped them dead. And then it was all about when the early Texas Rangers and that tried to push them south from above, and it captured like a whole 400-year swathe of history. It was fantastic. Couldn't recommend it more. I mean, I don't usually read historical fiction that much, but yeah, well, that's not fiction, like history books. But yeah, this one was, I couldn't put it down.
Cool.
So yeah, that was my favorite read.
Well, I have a few. So, for someone that I actually don't like, well, I don't not like chunky books, but I'm very intimidated by them because I'm a very slow reader. So, but my favourites trad published this year would probably be Robin Hobb. I'm reading the Live Ship Traders at the moment. I'm up to the third book, and it is so good. Like everything she writes is just amazing. So, but I like fucked up, and I accidentally read Rainwild Chronicles like a few years ago first because I didn't realize she had like a whole little university thing going. So I read that first, and everyone said it's like the shit's one, but I loved it, and I've sort of gone back to the start. And yeah, so doing Live Ship now, but really looking forward to getting back to Fitz because the Fool is like one of the greatest characters ever written, and I can talk about that in detail when I read further, I'm sure. Indie, probably my I've just completely binged this historical queer romance murder mystery Victorian Gothic thing called Charm of Magpies. Case.
Charmer of Magpies.
Yes, Charm of
Writing-
Magpies. The first
Writing
one's
that
the
the
Magpie
fuck
Lord.
down.
They're like 200 pages, and like this plot's really good because like it's all gothic murder mystery and Victorian, but like, oh my god, the sex scenes, holy shit. They're everywhere and they're great. So I really liked that. But my favorite book of the year is Legacy of the Brightwash and Brick and Bone, and anyone that's had anything remotely to do with me in the last few months will know that. So yeah, that's outstanding. If anyone's not read that, they should do it.
It's definitely on my list.
Yeah, do it. It's so good.
Crystal's a
I know
fantastic
Chris read it
person as well.
recently, so
Honestly, Legacy of the Brightwash is probably one of my most surprising reads of 2023
good.
because I don't like romance, but I was in the gym like
No, me
trying
neither.
not to die while
Oh.
a sex scene was happening, and I was like, "Can anybody hear this shit?"
it's
And
like,
like, it was 6 a.m. in the morning. There's about 400 people in the gym. I'm trying not to break my back. Somebody else is breaking their back in this scene, and I was like, I can't be here in public right now listening to this thing. But yeah, I agree. It was very surprising, a very good
so good.
read. I think that's probably my favorite audiobook of this year. I think
The
was
audio is
so
great.
good.
Yeah.
So if you are an audiobook consumer, it's well worth getting the Crystal Matar books on audio. I think my personal favorite this year would have to be Icebreaker by Stephen William Hanna. If you are someone who likes atmospheric, psychological sci horror, that shit was fucked up, but like in a very entertaining way. So if you took like Bird Box and A Quiet Place, but made them better because the character work was there, that's sort of what that book felt like. I've never had so much anxiety reading a book than I did with that one.
Hmm.
So that's probably my favorite of the year.
I got to admit, for
Yes.
1 second, when you said Icebreaker, I thought you meant that terrible hockey romance book on fucking Book Talk, and I was like, "What? Wait, like, I mean, okay,
Doesn't that just scream me though?
yeah, absolutely,
Like,
yeah. One
maybe
of my
I
favorite
should do
things to
that where I read the romance counterpart.
is,
Just jump
you know how you
into
can get like the Goodreads, like the look inside, and you can read like the first chapter. I like doing that for like the really popular Goodreads books, and the really popular Book Talk books, just to see if people are talking out their ass or if they're like actually good. And I've seen some shit. I've read.
I think a lot of them they just jump on the bandwagon.
Oh my god!
It's all
Has
FOMO.
anyone heard of Lightlark? Because I would love to bitch about Lightlark just for like 1 minute.
No.
Go
Like
for it.
she ran like she was running from something. Is an
fucking
actual line in the fucking book.
Goodreads winner.
This book is like a #1 New Times bestseller, blah blah blah. Like the author's on fucking the Drew Barrymore show or some shit. Like it is the worst. I've read fan fiction written by 12-year-olds that was beautiful and made me cry. And then this thing is making millions of dollars. It made me legitimately want to throw my phone across the room. Whew! Anyway, I got that out. So yeah, different Icebreaker. Cool. Yes, Esme, unfriend her. She's not your friend anymore.
All right.
Like
So
last
the next question is,
Woo, move on.
what is your biggest influence of 2023? And this doesn't have to be
Twilight.
an author. It can just be someone in your life, a connection you've made over the last year. Jess, I'm going to start with you again, and we're going to go back around that way.
That's all right. Crystal Matar. Just all of the answers is just
All right.
Crystal.
Every single answer.
Everything. Yep. Do I need to elaborate?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, well, as like Brightwash was my favorite read of the year, and I've since been chatting with Crystal because we seem to match up with a lot of interest in everything, and yeah, they're just as great as their books. So she'll hate me for saying that, but they are really just as great as their books are. And also CM Kaplan Connor and another Aussie author, JC Rycroft. She's been really helpful She also debuted this year, so yeah, certainly helping me navigate a lot of author stuff and parent stuff as well, because kids are hard.
Yes.
I read my first JC Rycroft last month, and I didn't expect it to be that spicy that quickly.
But so then she's been getting like reviews where people are like, "There's no spice. All they do is like travel," and she's like, "Well, it's not a romance, technically, but it's spicy." I haven't finished. I was reading the prequel one, so all right,
I
I'll
was a
strap
lesbian
myself
for
in
10
for that.
years. That shit was spicy.
Oh,
Okay.
well. Strap myself in for that one.
Strap on.
It's all right. Chris writes some spicy.
Wow, Stu.
I'm just adding conversation.
Right, Cam, biggest influence 2023.
Oh, I'd have to say like the community in general, like, you know, fucking speaking to other authors and connecting that way. You yourself, Chris, has been a massive help and you know, always encouraging. The thing that you did got me in contact when we had the a few authors got together and we did like a little competition thing, put the book out, gave it to the winner sort of thing. That was fantastic. So apart because I'm
That was all Jess.
Well,
Sorry?
that was me and JC Rycroft as well. That was our little
Yeah,
baby.
100%. Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for Chris. So
Yeah, Chris was. I asked him like, "Hey, Chris, who's got books?" And he gave me a list of all the debut authors for indie, and that's how that sort of came around.
I don't know what your feelings are. I thought that the whole thing went fantastic.
It was great. There's it was a great bunch of little debut authors there, so that whole experience was good.
The winner was so appreciative as well. I think he generally read each book and, you know, enjoyed them all. So yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, apart from that, I don't know. Just trying to keep my head down. I mean, it's like a million and one things to fucking try and promote your book. You can't do them all. You know, they all tend to cost money. It's crazy. Like
money and time.
You know, so if it kind of feels like, you know, one step forward, two steps back sometimes. But you know, speaking to people that's actually in the community, like, you know, everybody here, we're all in the same boat basically. You know, nobody's making fucking Harry Potter money or anything like that. So it's you know, all pulling together basically, which I found that very surprising. So someone tweeted because I said all pulling together.
I'm down for that.
It's true. We're 12.
My biggest friendship, or what is it? Influence, friendship or author? I think Phil Tucker has become a massive influence for me in terms of the scope of imagination and how to bring it into a fantasy world. That's not to say that he's influencing my Eye of Eternity series so much, but I have plans for something in the future that's very much being influenced by what he's been doing. I would also, I guess, have to say that this year, probably the last year and a half or so, biggest friendship I've made in the community has been Chris. With all your support and daily chats and bitches and listening to me whine and moan about things, you know. So but the community in general is really good, and it's very open and welcoming for a loner like me who's very antisocial and hides away in my house all the time and doesn't go out and say boo to anybody. So yeah, it's been good.
All right, Stu.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah,
tough one. Probably friendship. Probably the guy below me. Well, you're under me for once, mate. That's good.
Good to take turns, fellas.
Luke's being so good. Like, we actually give each other shit all the time, but in all seriousness, he's given me so much advice on like the whole debut author experience and what to expect, and how to plan your book, like the whole obviously there's writing the book, then there's, as you guys know, then there's publishing the book, and he's just been awesome with the amount of advice he's given me.
Thanks, Stu.
All good, man. Author, I wouldn't say of 2023, but just overall, is Robin Hobb. She got me into fantasy, and just her way of writing. You think you make a good chapter, then you read her book, you're like, I fucking
Queen.
Yeah,
Queen.
it's like you just want to throw your manuscript against the wall.
Yeah. She's 100% just the best author. So I'll say she's my biggest influence, closely followed by John Gwynne, but yeah, definitely Robin Hobb.
And just sorry,
No, you go.
just going to say, interesting fact that Robin Hobb previously published as Megan Lintone, and when she wrote the first
got her books as well.
Assassins books, she had to sell it under a different name and chose the name Robin because it was ambiguous as to sex. Because female authors in fantasy, certainly back in the early 80s or early 90s, didn't sell as much. Yeah, I've managed to meet her a couple of times. I used to work
Really?
at Galaxy Bookshop in Sydney. If any of you know that bookshop, it's a specialist science fiction fantasy indie store in the city, and all the big authors when they came out to Australia would get them in. So yeah, she's a lovely lady.
Oh
Really
my god,
cool
I
to
would
chat with
ugly
her.
cry.
Yes, I'll be like, come.
I think I misunderstood the assignment because I wrote that my biggest influence of 2023 was the Barbie movie.
Go for it.
Whatever
It
works.
tracks.
But honestly, between the Barbie movie and the Eras Tour, there has been this cultural shift in people are no longer afraid to be passionate and celebrate what they want and what they like. And I think that that's really important. And the Barbie movie in particular, I went into it with an inkling of what it was going to be like, but the idea of challenging and dismantling stereotypes and not falling into the trap of attempted perfectionism. So and letting it ruin everything and not trying because you know it's not going to be perfect. I really resonated with that, and also the existential crisis part about not understanding what the fuck it is you want to do with your life. But just being unapologetically who you are and what you want to do and who you want to be, I think is so important. And 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have tried to write a book or tried to sell the book to people because I would have thought that people, like in the early 80s with women with Robin changing her name, thinking that people wouldn't give it a chance because I'm an awkward girl with pink hair. Like, I don't have that feeling anymore. And it's partly because of the Barbie movie. So that was my influence.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the Barbie movie, but now I feel like I need to.
It was honestly fantastic. It was like it didn't hold back any punches, and it was really uncomfortable for every man that was in the cinema, which honestly, as it should have been. It was great. And over to
you. Okay. I actually did something a little different too. I actually said anime is one of my inspirations because that's where I get a lot of my ideas from. I just think the Japanese sort of writing style is very emotional, and that's what I like to sort of bring out in my novels, and I get a lot of help from watching that. For example, like I think my first book in 2022, A King's Radiance, the prologue was sort of influenced by a scene I watched in One Piece, and it was like one of like the princesses was getting like taken captive by someone even higher than her, and this person had like ultimate authority. And as the princess is getting captured, so as she's being taken into chains, the father's sitting there like watching, and he can't do anything. So he's sort of like if I intervene, my whole kingdom's sort of destroyed. But if I don't, then my daughter's going to get taken hostage. And I use that whole basis as like the first chapter of my novel. So then I sort of built my own sort of story around that. But that's just where I sort of get my influence from watching media and also reading books as well, of course. Yeah, just something I find interesting.
Yeah, I've got the anime influence as well. Video games is another big one that I draw on as well.
Yeah, World of Warcraft for me.
Yeah, Finland. I just watched Finland as well. Just recently finished that. Very, very good. Very emotional.
How good's the story?
Yeah,
So good.
it's very good.
I'm not an anime or a manga reader, but like being on BookTube for the last
Man,
2
I
years
was
has told me
the
that
same.
maybe I should.
I've just started Berserk, which is like a
Yeah,
big
I just
grim
got the
dark
second
one.
volume Berserk as well. Yeah,
The like
Galaxy is
sexy
interesting.
hardcover ones.
yeah, the deluxe. Yeah,
Yeah, they're like $80,
yeah.
but they're
I've
so
got to
worth it.
collect them. I reckon I've got the first
Yeah,
one. I just
same.
got the
It's my husband's favorite manga, and he's been up at me for ages to read it. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
But now I'm actually reading them, and he's like, I told you. So that's
well,
obnoxious, but
they're really
At least you
it
guys
happens.
get Berserk. My wife's trying to get me to read Sailor Moon. You know, like we've got
Absolutely,
a
you should
lot-
read Sailor Moon.
She's
Are you
within
fucking
hearing
kidding?
distance. Don't say that louder.
You should read Sailor Moon.
I haven't been
I
able to
used to
name the
watch that
cat
as a kid.
in a while, so I don't know. Like she bought like
Anyone else
She was
watch
pretty
Cheese TV? Anyone else?
Yes,
watch
Cheese TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this series was the best, but I was like a Pokemon Digimon
I'm
guy.
gonna change to Toasted.
Well, I was a Saturday morning Disney girl. So
Yeah.
does anyone
I had a
remember
younger
that?
sister, so I watched all that. Don't
Anyone.
worry.
Nah. And I was Aggro's Cartoon Connection, like early 90s.
Hell yeah.
Astro
Amazing.
Boy,
Wacky
Monkey Magic.
races and shit.
Bloody hell!
Oh, and what was that Rats TV thing? Like, no, Feral's TV
the
with
Ferals.
the creepy. Yeah, that's it. The creepy Muppet things.
They're on ice.
Oh god, I'm so old.
Wait, how old is everyone here?
34.
40,
34.
48.
30.
See.
35. I'm actually 24. No, I'm 35.
You're not old. We're all like in the same ballpark.
We're all
46.
miserable millennials.
36. I'm 40. I'm 48.
Yeah, I was
I
being nice, man. You didn't have to say
Thank
anything.
you. Yeah, it's like all the cartoons I watched. They weren't part of any other show. There was just like 7 o'clock on Saturday morning on Channel 10 or Channel 7. And
Were
they'd
they in
have,
black
like,
and white?
No.
Sorry.
I just nearly died, so that's that. Anyway,
Okay.
moving on
Before
to
the next question, I need to put my air conditioner on because it is hot as fucking balls in here. So
Go
just give
for
me
it.
a sec.
Actually, yeah, I need to pee.
The first one.
Right, we'll start with whoever is here and just like come back to whoever is not.
Proudest achievement.
I'm going to get another Traveller.
Yeah, go for it.
It's time for a refill.
You guys good?
Yeah. Let's go.
My
What's
god, did I
going
just
good?
flash my ass?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
wasn't looking.
I was like, my skirt was stuck to my ass, wasn't it?
I didn't. actually.
Audience, just as flash your ass to the entire internet.
Hi, Abel. How's it going?
I'm now
Why?
taking OnlyFans subscriptions. So if you saw that, pay up.
I am not
Honestly, if
built
it
for
makes money.
OnlyFans. I wish I was because
For toes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Esme, I
Luke,
feel the same
man,
way.
get on it.
Galaxy is so good. I remember Mark took me to Galaxy the first time I met up with him, and I nearly got lost. Like, it's such a cool bookshop. If you've not been there, you'll spend lots of money there. Yeah, Esme's a baby. She's only 21. She's got no idea what we're talking about.
Oh,
Cheese
bless.
TV.
How's the Paul?
Hey, Abel. Lucas, I just bought your book that Louise was spruiking, so
Hey.
I'm very interested in what that's all about. So the next question I have was the proudest achievement of 2023. Look, I know we've got a few debut authors here, so I'm guessing we're going in that direction. But I just want to give a shout out to those people. What is your proudest achievement? Luke, we'll start with you and go back up.
All right. Well, I guess the easiest answer is saying publishing the Sun Prince, because that's something I put a lot of effort into. But I'm actually going to say something else, and I would say my proudest achievement is actually rewriting my new novel that I have going, which is called Soul Cage. So I wrote the whole draft for it, and then I sort of got a bit ahead of myself, a bit arrogant, thinking, okay, this is really good. This is the best thing to come sort of thing. And then I sent it off to my editor, who beta reads for me, and he sort of came back and absolutely just destroyed it. So he sent me a 50-page document outlining, like, he didn't say it was bad. He said there's lots of good, which I think there is, but he's pretty much said that look, this needs a lot of work. This needs a lot of work. And on the first reading, I sort of sat there. I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm better. I'm better than that. But then that only lasted a few minutes, and I sort of sat with it. I read it properly. I went through it, and I was like, shit, he's fucking right. He's right here. He's right here. He's right there.
You hate
this
that?
doesn't make sense. This character needs this. This character needs that. So then I was a bit down for about a week. I was like, I thought it was really good, and then I sort of realized that it needs a lot of work. So I sort of sat back, and I think a week later, I sort of came to the decision. All right, I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to do this novel justice, because there's a lot of good things going on for the novel. I love it. I still think it's the best thing I've ever written, but I need to do it justice. So at the moment, I'm about halfway through the rewrite of that novel, and I think that's probably the thing that I'm proudest of, like coming to that revelation, that sort of growing as an author a little bit, sort of.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
I guess that's my answer.
All right, Louise, over to you.
I would say, besides, obviously Spark coming out next week, finishing it was definitely one of my proudest achievements, because that shit takes forever. I don't know about y'all, but I am one of those people that just cannot. You know how they're like, oh, just keep writing and then edit later. No, I can't do that. I have to edit as I go, which means
Guilty.
Yeah, it took me 2 years from first word to first draft finished, but I also had a very polished first draft, so I only had to do a few read-throughs and rewrites and stuff. Like, I feel like if I'd allowed myself to write badly, which I'm getting better at, it maybe would have been half the time. But it is what it is. I'd say my other biggest achievement is making Esme cry.
That is a good achievement.
I made her swear at me. Does that count? I made her swear at me. Does that count?
Yeah, possibly. But like in general, invoking an emotional reaction from someone reading a book is pretty much like the biggest goal I could have ever achieved. And so to have that response from Spark was priceless. I can't even put it into words how much it meant.
Oh, for me, obviously.
Bye, John. Bye, John.
You missed that, Chris. I
obviously-
think he's already gone. Sorry.
Exclamation.
Yeah, can I go now?
Yes, you may go.
Yeah, obviously getting the book out, that was pretty common-esque. But for me, it's more so telling like my closest family and friends. I sort of like hid it away. Just I come from such a sporting jock background. To hide it was easier than like I guess promoting it within like your inner circle of friends and family. So to tell people about it, that's probably my proudest achievement. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I just got a message from my dad just literally 2 hours ago saying, just finished the Sun Prince, absolutely loved it. Then he went on for about, I don't know if you can see that, he went on for about 5 minutes just about all the stuff that he really likes. So it was really good. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, it's sick, isn't it? Yeah.
And my dad's normally really critical, so
Yeah, my mum liked my book. That was a big achievement for me too, because that woman's read probably 10,000 books in her lifetime.
Wow.
It's terrifying. You know those like big sales that the thrift stores do, where you can buy like 10 books for $1 or whatever? She'll go and she'll drop $50 and buy like
Ooh,
100
legend.
books, and then she'll just read through them all until she's finished. Like, some of them are garbage, but she just has to always be reading. And I think that's probably one of my biggest influences as well in life. Is that woman has never been without a book in her hand for the entire 35 years I've known her. So
That's so good.
Sorry.
I love that.
Cool.
My turn. You finished?
Your
Stu?
turn, mate.
Yep. Biggest achievement this year is probably getting back into a routine with writing the first draft of book 2. One of the things for me, it's going to sound weird. I actually hate writing first drafts. It takes me a long time to get some momentum behind me. Once I have that momentum, I can keep going until the end. It's fine, but actually starting is really difficult. And when I wrote Blood of the Spear, I wrote it sequentially. So all the characters started together, and then I wrote every single chapter one after the other until the end. And for most of that story, the characters were all together, so I could change POV and still be progressing the same story, but from a different angle or a different character's viewpoint until the end. In the end of book 1, spoiler alert, they kind of are separated. So book 2, they're in different places and have different stories that the rest of the cast that you start with are not directly involved in. So I had this thing where I would start one and finish that chapter, and then I'd switch to a different POV, and I'd feel like that the momentum I had been building in the first chapter story was instantly gone as I switched gears. And it took me a long time to get my head around what I was doing with that. And because I'm not a big planner, I pants a lot. Like, I'll have the beginning, the middle, and the end, and I know particular signposts of where I want to go. But how they actually get through all the things that happen before and after is kind of like, let's find out. Let's go on a journey.
I relate to that. Yeah.
So I had to do a little more planning in this one than I had ever done previously. And I think I've got that sorted a bit better. And I just went off, I did one character's storyline completely from start to finish, because it is almost completely separate. It's completely separate to everybody else's in the story, in the book. So it could run by itself as a story within the story. And now I'm going back to the main characters, but I think that's been my biggest achievement, is getting that momentum happening again. So I've hit 125k words. And I think I'm probably not even halfway yet. So this
Wow.
one's going to be bigger than book 1 was. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. I like big books. I think I finished book 1 at 205,000. And by the time I worked with my editor, we got it down to 173, with a bit of restructure at the beginning and a lot of cutting. So we may end up doing the same thing in this one, but I think this one's going to be a lot bigger because the POVs are now separate and each of them has a story to tell. So yeah, that's my biggest achievement. And I've got some family issues going on as well. So being able to write while all that's going on, or at least do some words every day, is an achievement too.
Okay, I reckon my biggest achievement, honestly, is pretty much not killing anyone on my commute into work, because where I live, we've got terminal roundabouts. And it seems no fuckers know how to take roundabouts nowadays. They just stop.
No,
So,
what's an indicator?
exactly. Yeah.
Or they use it too much.
Yeah, no,
Why are
with,
you indicating?
Like you're going down a
Hey,
straight ride and they're just sitting there with their indicator. I was like, what the fuck you doing?
that's a couple of weeks back. I had somebody stop that was on the roundabout to let me on. I'm like, this is not how this fucking works.
Give way to your right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say my proudest achievement would be getting book 2 out. As we were talking before about having proud parents, I actually dedicated the second one to my mum, and she was chuffed on that.
Good on you, Cam.
Yeah, but 4 out of 5 stars, fucking bitch.
Wow.
Wow.
That's it. She's not going to cancel anymore.
Fucking savage.
But yeah, just get.
It's the same thing to me, Cam's mum. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the second book was a bit. Well, I wouldn't say harder because you've done a lot of the things before, but it's you just know the amount of work that it takes to get the first one out, so it's a bit more daunting if that makes sense. So yeah, just churning out the second one was, I'm hoping for one a year sort of thing. So I know people pump out 4 or 5 a year. I mean, fucking, I don't know how they write.
Yeah. Well
How
done,
do
you.
do that?
Yeah, people with that kind of release schedule, I can't understand it. I can't work like that. Yeah.
So well done to you and well done to Luke. You're both bastards. Getting these books out after mine and getting a second book out before me. Fuck you both.
Yeah, but mine's not 270 fucking thousand words either.
You got your novella?
Yeah, that's true. The novella was actually a reworking of the very first prologue I ever wrote for Blood of the Spear about 20 years ago. It was a lot of changes, but and moving it into the world and the story that had changed as I wrote through the first draft of the book eventually. But it was fun. It was really cool to shift it into gear.
Did anyone here actually write an entire novel before they published a book? So for me, I think I wrote a whole 120,000 word book and then put it in the bin and then wrote The King's Radiance.
I'm told that you should do that.
Yeah, it was like my practice book. I'm
told that you should draw the first book you ever write. That is you learning to write, and then you write something else. But like I took 20 years to write Blood of the Spear, so I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It enough.
Yeah, I rewrote like The Ruptured Sky over 20 years. Like I'd get 60k deep and then I'd bin it, and then I'd get through, and then I'm like, nah, fuck that too. Like it's changed so much, so it is basically like I've written the same story like 6 times.
And the amount of editing I went through as well was just crazy. So yeah. That was Blood of the Spear is my first full novel.
Yeah,
I wrote a lot of fan fiction, so I don't know if that counts.
Hey,
it's great writing practice. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it is the best way for writing practice. It's like
I mean, technically, I'm still writing fan fiction. So
yeah, but it's so good. Like you can sort of practice on one, so you don't have to worry about developing characters. So you can work on a sentence level or like a plot structure instead, because your characters are already there. It's so good. I'm like in big defense of fan fiction as practice.
Does anybody remember the old People and Picture magazines used to get?
Yeah.
There used to be a section in there called, My First Fuck, My First Femfuck sort of thing. That was technically the first thing I ever wrote and got paid for.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
I was a lesbian nurse in that one. So.
Everyone has strengths.
Was my sealed section.
Yeah.
All right, Jess, over to you.
Proudest achievement. So actually finishing the damn book and getting it out. But probably like aside from publishing stuff, just getting involved with the community and actually talking to people online. Like that was a huge thing to do. Like I generally feel like I'm a little annoyance when I message someone and be like, hey. So I don't like to do it. So like even putting together that the giveaway that we did, like just randomly reaching out and talking to people, like that was terrifying. So doing that was like a big achievement. I'm really proud that I've been able to sort of connect with people that way. On a more personal level, I've managed to sort of make some decisions that have helped put myself first in life instead of just, going along with what other people want. and everything. So had some life changes, and that's been a big thing.
Go you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll just finish this bottle of wine now.
nice.
We've had a question from the audience, so in the essence of time, I'll do this question and then I'll sort of finish it off for everyone. We've had a question from Stepan saying, "How difficult is it for you to write the end of the book?" He's been writing the end of his new book for about 6 months. So we'll start off with Jess.
Oh, it's fucking shit. It's the worst part. As I said, like I'd be writing and I'd get 60,000 words in, and I only write short books. Like I think The Ruptured Sky's like 94. So say 2/3 of the way in. So you're on that final stretch. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is too hard. I'll just start again. So, but even now, like I've got a really strict deadline, being the 1st of December for my copy edit for book 2. Which I've rescheduled like 6 times already, so I have to turn it in this time. And I still have a chapter to write, and I just can't fucking do it. So 6 months, that's probably going to be me, and I'm going to be out of an editor. So we'll see how we go with that, but it's very hard, and just I don't have an answer for how you do it. Sorry.
Damn.
Someone tell me how to do it so I can, finish by the end of the month.
I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Same boat. There's a reason why my series is called Chronicles and not fucking treated, like a, a deadline for 3 books or something. That's the reason just be like EastEnders or something. Just keep going. As far as I'm concerned, yeah. I mean, the only trick to it I try to do is have a kind of not so much a cliffhanger, but something that will give me interest into the next one. Yeah, a little bit. So a few loose ends that aren't tied up, but to actually finish it on a definitive, it's a nightmare. Yeah.
And suddenly we all understand GRRM.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Writing the end is interesting because I usually have in my head, as far as my planning goes, the end being the climax of a particular plot point, but you can't just finish on that climax. There has to be the downwards slope afterwards to tie other things up and then leave enough to lead into the next part of the story. So I kind of I remember with Blood of the Spear, I got to the climax and I'm like, oh crap, well what happens next? Because I can't just finish here. And then I wrote the next another chapter afterwards, and it came to a quite the cliffhanger. And then I decided that was it. So it's going to stop here, and it's going to have to wait 3-4 years for the next one. Sorry, everybody who's read it and wants the next one, but it is coming faster than George R.R. Martin. So still,
What's he at, like 10 years now?
Yeah, I was still at Galaxy when the last book came out, and that was 11 years ago. So, yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't love to have his sales.
Right? I'm just, if I had his paychecks, I probably wouldn't write either.
Sorry, Esme.
Stu, how was writing the end of your book?
Yeah, so for me, it was a bit similar to Mark, where I knew exactly how I was going to finish it, but you need a few other chapters in the epilogue to sort of finish it off. But for me, like the last, I guess, chapter was a little bit emotional because I wrote about my dog that just passed away a year ago before he went. So it was a way to give him like the best tribute. I guess the best recommendation is like making it as much. It's hard and it's raw, but to make it as emotional as you can, so that the reader gets that experience as well. That's my recommendation. Silence.
Yeah, it's because I don't know whether I'm going to be introduced or if I just need to start talking. So
Totally start talking.
Just
Over you, Lou.
okay.
Step up, Chris.
I write out of order, so I might be the weird one here, but I write the ending first. So that's how you finish it. You do it first, and then you work your way backwards.
Mhm.
It's like a murder mystery.
Yeah, well, like, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're going to end up?
You just wing it.
Like,
That's how I'm pretty sure that's how Sanderson writes. He
Possibly, yeah.
He plots backwards. So he
Yeah,
plots
he
from
does.
the ending
Yeah.
all the way to the
Mm.
beginning, and then he writes forward.
Yeah, so like I knew where I wanted to end up, and I knew like so one of the first chapters I ever wrote was one of the last big dramatic battle scenes, but I wrote like the skeleton of it.
Mm.
I'm not talking I've written like it to the letter. But I wrote like the skeleton of what I wanted to happen, the beats and like the dramatic climax. And then I also wrote the epilogue was one of the first things that I wrote because I knew that's where I wanted to end it. And then I went all the way to the other end and I wrote the prologue. And then I kind of just Frankenstein and stitched it all together.
Oh my
So
God, that's doing
my
my head
advice.
in.
Nah.
That's
Well, like I have, so when I plot like a 1 paragraph thing for each chapter. And I'll say, this happens, they say this happens, dramatic. And so I know what I want to happen and then I can move around and stuff. But my advice would be if you're struggling in writing a specific scene, just skip to the next one. And then you might find that you didn't need that scene in the first place. Or like, you know, maybe you can't write your ending because it's not the end. So
yeah.
Jordan.
just write whatever the fuck you want and just stitch it all together. That's what I do.
That's actually
Worked out
very
alright for me.
profound and helpful.
Yeah, that's good advice. I'm fairly sure with Luke, I actually abused you gently from the ending of your first book. I think
Sounds
a
alright.
few people abused you. Yeah. the
Thank you,
ending of your
Daddy.
first book. So I'm interested in your answer, mate.
What was the reason for the abuse again?
Daddy.
The
Who did I
ending of
kill?
your
Oh yeah,
books.
that's right. Shit. Okay, yeah. My advice, I'd probably say if you are stuck, just write through it and allow it to be crap. Because
Yeah.
if you just write, like it doesn't have to be good. If you just write something, write what you're thinking at that moment. That doesn't have to be what you publish. That can just be what you have as a structure. You can always just go through and rewrite it. And sometimes when you're just writing crap, you get ideas. And sometimes those ideas, you can just sort of go rewrite it, input those ideas, get new ideas, let it sit for a bit, come back to it later. You might have another idea. At least you finish it. So just keep writing. Even if it's not the ending that you have in your mind, just write it. And then you can always go back and rewrite it. That's what I'm doing at the moment with my one. I sort of just finished it and I liked it, but it wasn't like completely satisfying. But it gave me ideas for what I actually want the ending to be because I just wrote it. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to rejig the ending sort of thing. So at least you're putting progress forward and you're not just sort of sitting there saying, I don't know what to do for like months and months and months. I don't know. That's just.
I did that with the middle of my book, like the middle chunk of my book. I was like, where the hell does this go? I was just wrote, like, yeah, as I said, man, you just like add to it. And
You
it
can
works,
change
yeah.
it. Like until it's published, it's not
100%,
out.
yeah.
Like no one, you don't have to show anyone. You can just write.
Yeah.
Mm.
That
And
is
Terry
the
Pratchett
scariest thing.
always used to say that the first draft is the author telling themselves the story.
I've heard that, and
Sometimes
that's
it
what
might
I've
end up
sort of
good.
clung to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might end up good. Sometimes it might end up crap. Like
Yeah. I'll often, like my first draft, that's why I struggle with first draft. But once I've got a first draft down, writing the second draft off the back of it is fantastic because I get so many ideas. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, that's crap. That's not how this goes. It goes like this, and you change
Yeah.
change stuff around, and yeah.
Yeah, I hate the
It's fun.
first draft. It's so much easier afterwards.
Yeah, 100%.
I always liked
Yeah.
Hemingway's thing, which was write drunk, edit sober.
Yeah, well, that's George Michael used to write all his music. So.
just
All right, I've got a question from Esme, and we all love Esme as a reviewer, so we will ask it to the group. Anyone just yell out an answer for this one, but as a reviewer, what are your favorite types of reviews, and do they actually help get the book more love?
My favorite types of reviews are Esme's reviews.
Correct answer.
Yes, and they do help you get more
Suck
reviews.
up.
Like
Absolutely.
Krista Matar bought my book off the back of Esme and Jametti's reviews. So, like, any reviews is a good review. Just get them out
Even
there.
just like you can talk about your own book until you're blue in the face, but having someone that's not your mum, I mean, my mum, like, sorry, or like not your mum or your best mate
4
or
stars.
your, like, sorry, like if it's not someone that you're related to, that you know, like it holds more weight in the sense that
Yeah.
you haven't, you know, they believe this. They've said that of their own accord. I mean, I'm not. I did send Esme some chocolate, and also I may have paid for her student loans,
Wow.
which is why I have no money left
Wow.
for any sort of promo.
See how it
But
is.
allegedly,
Right.
allegedly, you can't prove that shit.
You just admitted that.
But like it's
She's
based on content of a review. Like I think the ones where you get that, like, I like to see a bit of anger or rage where they're like, fuck, why did you do that? Like that emotional destruction. I think they're the reviews I really like, but where they've really like connected and they talk about how they've related to a character or how a character or a plot point's made them feel. Like I like that detail, but even just a, yep, great book, loved it, or even like, nah, not for me, but someone who likes XYZ might like it. Like, I mean, any review is good. And then you get people that get 1-star reviews and then they use them for hilarious marketing.
Yeah.
And so any review is a good review.
The best is
One
when
of
you
my
kill a
favourite
character.
things on
When you kill someone off and you get someone respond just like swearing at you, like Chris.
Yeah. So good.
That's what Esme did to
over
me.
the
I
end of
think
book one.
I woke up in the morning and I've gotten like 10 messages from Esme just saying, "Yes,
How dare you?"
I got them too.
So
You
good.
must be doing something right to get messages. That's good.
yeah."
If Esme and I are reading a book at the same time, and Esme reads at the speed of fucking light, so she'll
Oh,
like,
she's so
patiently
fast.
wait for me to catch up to where she's up to, and then I'll just like go on my rant of whatever's happening in a book, and she was like, "Oh, I know," and it's amazing. What a great reviewer to have. Any book that I love that she hasn't read yet, I will just like throw at Esme and be like, "You have to read this." And vice versa. Any book that she loves that I haven't read yet, I'll read.
No, you guys
but-
have impeccable taste.
I mean,
Absolutely
I would
amazing member.
say
of
in
the
general
community.
that I do think that reviews help sell books, simply because I have bought books off the back of reviews.
Mm.
And I know from just talking to other people that some people will buy books off the back of a poor review because all the things the person said they didn't like it sounded like something they would like.
Yeah, I've done that.
So yeah,
Absolutely, I've done
guy
that.
who like 1-stars all the LGBT books, and then people
Oh,
started
really?
using him as like a way to find
Find
LGBT
them?
books.
Brilliant.
But I think even from like Cam's exit interview for Spiffbo, like because people are like, whoa, it's too grim dark for me. Like I remember comments on that being all like, oh my god, I want this book.
Yeah.
So yeah, even negative reviews can be helpful.
Yeah,
Totally.
I think that's how I found Cam's book. Where someone's like, "Oh, this was a bit dark for me." I'm like, "Sick, I'm in."
And it's like, hello.
And then I find that I prefer reviews that talk about how the reader felt about the stuff that was happening in the book, as opposed to, there are some that I come across that's kind of like a regurgitation of the blurb.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, it's kind of what it says on the back of the book, but thanks for mentioning the story.
Spoilers.
So I mean, I'm not knocking that. I really appreciate anybody who takes the time to write about the book, good or bad.
I had a great one the other day, and it was
At least I read it.
about. Sorry, the last one I got, it actually gave me 5 stars, but then it was banging on about this book could have done with an edit. A decent editor could have whipped into shape and thought, fuck this, screenshot it, sent it to my editor.
Yeah.
Man, I can eat it there.
I'd be just like, well, here's my invoice from my editor. So,
Yeah,
if you think
I've
it wasn't
had one
done, how about you pay it?
I've had one or two comments like that, and I'm just like, you have no idea how much fucking editing this book has gone through. Yeah, and also some of them, like I specifically used Australian grammar in the structure of my book, and it is mentioned in the publishing details, and the people who have said things are usually from the US, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
America's
Spelling
not the
mistakes.
only country.
Oh,
in the
you've got a
world. Yeah.
spelling error.
But it's like even the use of semicolons and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're using the wrong spot." And I'm like,
Yes, we do use semicolons
Yeah.
differently.
yeah, and I'm like, "No, I actually didn't."
No, and I fucking love a semicolon. And so yeah, where they're just like, oh, semicolons are only used in nonfiction for textbooks, and I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah,
So
no.
yeah, no.
Yeah,
Semicolons
we
are the
actually
best.
write English.
Semicolons are the best. Semicolons and end rules, I will take them to my grave. Thank you. Next.
Yes.
All right, we've
Mr.
got one more
Tattoo.
audience question, and then we'll close off with the what are the 2024 plans. So one more audience question that we have here from Joanne: what part or character of your book gave you the most trouble? We'll start with Luke.
Oh, jeez. Does it have to be one published or one that I'm writing now?
Open to interpretation.
Published.
I'll do
Sure.
one that I'm writing now. I'm trying to do some sort of deeper themes in this book. So I've got sort of a deep like alcoholism theme, and then I've also got a mental health sort of theme, and then I've also got an autistic sort of kid. So I think that's why one of the reasons why I'm rewriting this one now, because I didn't quite do those themes justice in the first go through, in the first draft. So this draft, I'm really trying to sort of research and also sort of figure out what kind of things I need to write to do these themes justice and to make these characters sort of seem alive and seem real. So I think that it's not sort of a specific character. Maybe probably the autistic child is probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to write. So I've had to do a lot of research, and I do teach like a lot of autistic children sometimes when I do, because I do primary teaching. So I do know a little bit about it, but I think I recently went and watched, I don't know if you've seen it. What's it called? I forgot the Netflix show with the autistic
On the
kid.
spectrum thing, the dating on the spectrum.
No, not that. I forgot it now. But I went and watched. I forgot the name of it, but I went and watched it, and it was really helpful. Just to get some character sort of traits and what I can do and how I can morph that into my own writing and change my own character. So I'm really excited to see how people feel about this character when I do release it next year. Yeah, because it's been a lot of work that's gone into that, and that's been really tricky.
All right, let's go over to Cam. I'm just gonna call you out.
Oh, stress.
Well, I'd say with the last book would have been writing the POV from the teenage girl in the series, because despite what appearances may be, you're very far from a teenage girl. So,
What?
Yeah, I know, fucking shocker. But yeah, because particularly I've got she's sort of 14-ish, going on from there. So it's I found that a bit difficult, but I hope it wasn't written too unrealistically. So, but yeah, that took a bit of thinking about.
Stu.
Hardest. Yeah, it's actually pretty weird answer, but I have a bird as a POV. So it's
love that.
So yeah, it's a. Oh no, I don't want to reveal a spoiler for book 2.
In this one.
Yeah, the
In your book, The Kinslayer.
The bird POV. Yeah.
Which
It's
chapter?
I don't know. You have to get into it, mate.
Haven't you read it yet, Luke?
No, I just got it, mate.
Yeah, there's a raven that's brutal. That's right. Yeah, there's a raven that he or she the point of view from a bird and what they do to in the world of the flesh lands. And it might have bigger
What bird? What bird?
Bit of conflict. Hey?
What bird is
What
it?
bird? It's a raven.
Raven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's an emu.
So
Can it speak?
can it speak? Well, yeah, clearly.
Read and find out, Luke.
Imagine the POV of an emu. Lou, I'm going to throw over to you for that.
Fucking emus.
Yeah, they're brutal.
So I really fucking hate emus.
Emus are terrifying. So are cassowaries. All birds.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
fuck them too.
For
I hate
me,
cops.
writing in third person limited meant that I had to
Cops.
keep track of specific ways that I wrote specific characters. So it's not that one or more gave me more trouble than others. More the fact that I had to make sure that it was consistent. So one of my POV characters, Reven, he never has any thoughts in italics because he does not have an inner monologue. Which I decided that mainly because the person who originally played him in the campaign said that he didn't, so I wanted to stay true to that. And then also one of my other characters, Lessie, she has more italicized comments because she's more in her own head and more stressed out and more kind of second guessing her own decisions, whereas the other two, May and Valandaris, are older, they're more grounded, so they have more of a balanced level of internal thoughts versus spoken. But it is troubling to just sort of, when you've written so much to make sure that it still stays the same amount, and not that you're slipping into somebody else's writing style when you're, I don't know, not paying attention or you're tired, or just when you give characters their quirks to make sure that they stay consistent. Like one of my characters, Grundle, he only speaks in monosyllabic. He only speaks in the third person, refers to himself as Grundle. And so if I accidentally wrote a line of dialogue with him using flowery words, it would have ruined the effect. And like a couple of my but my one beta reader pointed that out one time, that I gave Grundle a line that was just a little bit too eloquent. And he was like, I'm sorry, like if I've said, like, stepped over the line. I was like, no, this is fantastic. Grundle absolutely would not say the word disillusioned. He would say, what the fuck? So it's like,
Bless
keep it
Grundle.
consistent between characters. I love Grundle so much. My favorite joke in my book is that Grundle is so stealthy that the characters forget he's there half the time. And I would forget about him while writing, and I'd forget to write him into scenes.
There's always that one character that you forget about.
Like legit, like I made it. That was his shtick, that he just wouldn't, and then he'd just pop up and say something, and the rest of the characters would be fucking like they'd knock their shit over and stuff. And that's what he was like in the game too. Like his stealth was like plus fucking 20 or some shit. Like that dude was the roguiest rogue to ever rogue. But yeah, if I accidentally started using the wrong terminology for his speaking, it would have been jarring for the reader. So yeah, making sure everything was the same the whole way through was the most important part for me.
My mind was blown when I found out that some people don't have inner monologue.
I know, it's weird.
Right. Does everyone have an inner monologue here?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't imagine that silence.
I don't understand people who don't read and see pictures of the story in there.
Right, like it's like fucking HD surround sound. And people are just like, oh, I vaguely see an apple. What?
Yeah, it's like, I don't get that.
I actually just had a big conversation with JC and Byrne because he doesn't write an inner monologue in his books, and he did a YouTube video. It's on YouTube now on his channel. He actually mentioned me by name. He messaged me, so it was all good. But he's pretty much compared someone. I think it was Legacy of Brightwash actually that he was comparing, because that's the complete opposite of him, and he doesn't use an inner monologue, and then the Legacy of Brightwash like goes overboard with the inner monologue, and it's just a difference of styles and like what everyone else is interested in. So it was like it was a really interesting conversation just to find out, one, what other authors use, and then two, what readers like as well, because some people like that. Some people like the direct this all action sort of books, and other people like delving into the emotions a bit more. Yeah, so it was really interesting.
Blows my mind.
Come on, Chris.
Oh, which part or character, throwing over to Jess, gave you the most trouble?
Hi, Joanne. It's Keo, because fuck him. When I was betaing, the beta was like, this is fucking boring. He doesn't do anything except sit on his ass in the castle. And I'm like, well, I don't fucking know what to do. So I deleted it. I deleted his whole like arc. So I had to write it again, which is really annoying to have to do that. And they're like, he needs more action. I'm like, okay, so he's just gonna fuck everything. So that's how that happened. But now, so he's been my favorite POV to write in book 2, whereas in book 1 he was a pain in the ass, as was Kriya, and they are both been my favorite in book 2. So all the extra angst of work that I put into reworking everything in book 1 has really paid off. So I guess don't have a bitch fit when your betas or whatever say do better, because it's ultimately worth it.
I think we're finishing off with you, Mark. What character of your book gave you the most trouble?
Generally, most of them, because I had to remember that they were not extensions of myself. I tend to be very introverted, and like in big groups of people, I'll like listen to things. I might have an opinion, but I won't say it. And not everybody's like that. And
I can relate.
yeah, and so like there are particular characters that I have to be like, no, he's in his head too much. You got to like, get out, take all this stuff that's internal and actually put it into dialogue. And then there was Savani. I got towards the end and I'm like, why the fuck is she even here? And I killed her off in one of my drafts. And then I was like, oh no,
Valid
I
solution.
needed her for the end. So then I had to go and get rid of that kill her off part and write it back in. And then I had to go back and had to give her more agency and actually, give her she got one POV chapter out of all of them in Blood of the Spear, but she comes into her own in book 2 in a big way. So there is that. So yeah, it was just I suppose making sure that when I write, I do remember that the characters are meant to be different and respond differently to how I might interact or respond in situations, and that was a big challenge for me at first. That, and I also made a thing in my book where the nobility do not speak with contractions, so remembering that shit is fucking hard.
Yeah.
So go
I'm
back
very similar,
afterwards.
Yeah.
I do not
Yeah, and then-
understand what you are talking about.
Exactly. And it's like, oh fuck, I got to go back and did I get them all? I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's difficult, and because you reread it and you forget. You're halfway through, you forget what you're actually reading for, and stop.
And like, has anyone accidentally put like Aussie slang in?
Yep.
Like, I know heaps is one I've used accidentally. Like,
Really?
oh, it was heaps busy. Because apparently other people don't say that. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to be like, I don't think people understand what that means, Jess.
Yeah, I've actually tried. I don't know how well I succeeded in book 1, but certainly in this draft of book 2, I'm trying not to use modern vernacular as often as possible. Just to, because I don't want it to sound modern. I don't want it to sound like, well, it doesn't, so that's something I'm trying to be more aware of. Like saying all right and okay and stuff like that. It's like, would somebody in a
I would say
medieval
not too bad.
yeah,
Okay
medieval
is a big one.
type setting, would they actually say okay? It's like,
Because it
okay.
I don't
comes from, like,
necessarily have an issue with that.
Yeah,
it
no,
comes
fair
from,
enough.
What's it called? Like the radio speak from military, because it's like okay, like it's like a short for something or other.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know that.
There was one in my
I'm
book.
gonna-
I said grayscale, and that's like a printing term, so I had to change
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like it's technically referring to like printing things. So I was like, shades of grey, I guess.
The more you know.
Cool.
It originally
Yes,
stood
I
for
hear grayscale.
all
I'm like, oh
correct.
yeah, grayscale.
Yes, there we go.
I was thinking of
Okay.
like Game of Thrones and like, isn't that just the disease they had on their face?
Yeah, grayscale.
I was
Yeah,
like, you just
totally.
like mad plagiarizing here, Louise?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Except I actually finished, so
Oh, shots
So
of
whoever gets published first.
Shots fired.
Check my reel, man. There's been some shots fired, I tell you.
I know. Oh my god, there's so much shade.
Your reels are so,
So
good.
much shade.
So funny.
It's so much fun. It's so much work, but it's so much fun.
All right, look, I have one last question because it's like my best friend in the whole world who's asking it. As writers, do you prefer when it's 2 to 3 or a group, or would you prefer a larger group? Feel free just to yell out this one.
More people. As long as they're like real
Agreed.
characters.
Is this a gangbang or?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Not this late on a Sunday, mate.
No? Oh, okay, sorry. Just checking.
Wow.
See, I'm
Well, I
totally
mean, it
getting
could be a
characters
case of the
asking.
more the merrier, but.
Stu, get your cock out.
Which one? No, this one.
Ah, no, the other one. No.
All right. Last question, everyone. Just for the sake of time, we've got a few people here in New South Wales and Victoria. It's getting quite late. Let's go around the room. What are you working on? What's on the horizon for 2024? We'll start with Jess.
I am planning to release book 2 at the end of March. By planning to, I mean I stupidly put up an Amazon pre-order and now I'm stuck to it. So look, I'm doing my very best to get it out. I don't know if it will get there, but that's the plan. I'm also working on like another little project because I really just have the shits with this world at the moment because of all the pressure I put on myself with book 2. So I'm probably gonna have a little break and work on another sort of more gas-lampy, very queer, very probably a little bit romantic, but yeah, a little bit different. Look, it's basically a love story to Brightwash. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there, but that's what I'm also going to work on. And I'm finished.
Cool. Hope you can.
Yeah, writing book 3 in the Craven Chronicles. Also doing a like an origin story for Sharek, which is the dude I killed off in the first book. And
Rude.
Spoiler.
Like, well, fuck, Cam.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it is grim.
Wait,
So
Cam, am I getting a Lydia origin story at some point?
And also, I actually took on the suggestion, one of yours, Chris, which was do another origin story for another one of the characters, which I've started writing a few chapters in that as well. So see how it goes.
Love that for me and my eyeballs.
Yeah, and more visiting people in all of them. So.
Okay. So I am working on the Pillars of the Sky, which is book 2, and I hope that the plan is that it will be out mid to late 2024, probably more late than mid, because my cover artist has a 12-month wait before he can give me a cover. So, which I didn't realize was a thing.
Look how quickly the years are going. It'll be December 2024, like tomorrow.
Exactly. So that I'm working on book 2, and it will be out then.
Is that Felix?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I messaged him, and he's like, "Yeah, 12 months before I can do before
He's very busy.
whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, great. So is that like this time next year? Can I get on a list?" And he's like, yeah, all right. It's hard to think. It's hard to plan that far ahead, but all right. I'm like, thank you, sir. Thank you. Because otherwise I need to get a new cover for book 1 before
Yeah, I'm trying to get Nino East at the moment, the guy who did the 11th cycle. So I'm trying to get on a hold of him.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, that's the plan, and I plan to keep writing as soon as I finish the final draft of book 2. I'm not going to break and not write like I did after Blood of the Spear. I'm going to keep going. That's me.
Cool.
Stu.
Yeah, just started working, I guess, in a full-time way. Book 2 of the Saga Tales of the Fleshlands. I actually got a heap. I know you guys did after book 1, but like you get this real bad burnout, just the whole process. And yeah, so I took about 2 months off. I just play video games, to be honest. But yeah, I don't think it'll come out 2024. Yeah, exactly. Oh, plus I've got two kids under 2, so it's
fuck that.
Yeah, I don't know how I even do anything. But yeah, definitely 2024 will just be writing. I can't see myself publishing anything or putting anything out there. But yeah, that's how it's going. And also, like I started writing the prologue, then like it's just expanding like the universe of your book, and you're like, fuck, how the fuck am I going to fit this into this year?
How many birds in this one?
100
Boy,
POVs.
I can't reveal, man. He or she could be something else. Could be a goddess. Who knows, mate? But no, that's
Read the book, Luke.
it could be you, Luke.
Yeah, Luke, read the book.
The bird's Luke Schultz. It flies down, like tickles your balls, and like flies away. And, yeah.
Evil walked out of the shadows like a ghost. His grey fox coat showed many suspended droplets of the fentanyl.
Wow. Droplets from his. Nah, it's all good.
I do a live reading.
It's like it's past my bedtime. I get delirious.
What are you, Lou?
Besides promoing the fuck out of Spark, I'm going to start working on the second, which I've had plotted for, the entire time. I basically plotted the entire trilogy at once. But I will let you guys in on the secret that it'll be called Curse of the Arcane. And it will have, it'll be more sort of focused on the other side of magic. So for Spark, it was a lot about the divinity, the magic that comes from the gods. And this one will be focused more on the magic that comes from the weave, which is, sort of you're cutting out the middleman of having to believe in something, which is kind of cool. And it will be, the fans will be very happy to know that it is very Revan-centric. So Revan is very main character energy in this one. And it also features a lot more of Leslie's sister, who was not a POV character in Spark, but she is an arcane user. So Trixie will make more of an appearance, which I'm super stoked to write because sibling relationships are kind of my specialty, but not sisters. So it's a lot of fun. I have a brother, and he's the most annoying piece of shit that I would die for.
Yeah, siblings.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's me. Pretty much wrapped up. I don't know when it will come out. It'll be ready when it's ready. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on myself.
My first one's got 3.
Don't do it. Just don't. It was the dumbest shit I've ever done in my life.
All right, Luke, you're it.
I'm hoping to get 2 books out next year. The first will be Soul Cage, which is pretty much
right, Mr. Ambitious.
Yeah,
which is pretty much the one that I was talking about before. And the second one, it's a novella, so half a book, quarter of a book. So that'll be called Eagles Fall. I've already got the cover and the first draft written, so that's sort of like a prequel novella set in the world of the Bonds of Kin. So it'll be all about sort of the downfall of a faction, about their descent from kind of the world's heroes into the villains that you know them to be in A King's Radiance. So there's also it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet romance in it, but it has like these big great eagles and dragons fighting each other as well. So it's not really a romance book, but it does have that element, yeah.
It's the romance between the eagles and the dragons.
It's not. It's Fifth Wing, yeah.
More birds.
That's Stu's next.
Unleash the furries, man. That shit sells.
It's got Stu's bird and then another one in.
Stu's big cock's coming.
Oh, crossover.
All right, look.
Cross swords. What crossover?
Does anyone want to tackle this question before I let everyone go? Do you, as Aussie authors, get feedback from US readers not connecting as much as UK writers?
Not connecting. I mean, most of the feedback I get is from US and UK readers, and the feedback that actually comes to me is generally positive, and that they did connect and they did like it. So, and the feedback, if they didn't, then I don't hear about it.
Like my beta team and everything is all Australian, but I think my biggest market is definitely like the US. It's the most reviews, most sales. Can't get into Canada. Canada don't want to buy books apparently, but yeah, no, US and UK are pretty
Yeah, totally.
open.
All right. Well, look, that was everything that we've got for this evening for the Aussie Showcase 1.0. There are so many Aussie authors out there that I just didn't realize when I started putting this together. So it's been absolutely amazing. I hope to do another one of these maybe early next year after I move to Perth, and we'll get some more Aussie authors in here if you all enjoyed it. But I just want to thank Jess, Cam, Lou, Stu, Mark, and Luke all for being here this evening. It was awesome to have you on and to get to chat. So thank you so much for being a part of tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting it all on, Chris.
All right. We will sign off, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll see you all again soon.
Oh, thank God I need to
All right.
leave.
Oh my God, same.
All right, everyone. Ciao.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.
Bye.